All right. Welcome everyone to our latest Movable Book Society show and tell. Thank you so much for making it today. Uh, I'm Suzanne Karschmidt, the director. We have and we have Marianne also on board here as always. Marianne Petit. If everyone could put your where you're watching from in the chat, that would be great. We love seeing how many members we have joining, and especially if you're someone who's not a member yet, to put that in, and maybe we can convince you to join. But we are making a special effort to try to make sure anyone who wants to come to these events can do so. All right, so today we have a let's see where we've got New York. I know we've got Germany and the Netherlands. Oh, Amsterdam. Yes, yes. Okay, Maryland, Oregon, Florida, uh, Tennessee. We've got Texas, more Florida. Oh, Canada, Toronto. I'm gonna be there soon. Wonderful. Uh, Portland, Oregon, more Illinois, uh, Michigan. Oh, Alaska. Wonderful. Uh, Colorado. Oh, we've got a proud member in Charlotte. Thank you. Uh, California. Yeah, we're from all over today. That's wonderful. We're trying to give a couple more minutes to see if anyone else is going to join, but I think we're about ready to start. So today we have a wonderful opportunity to talk to Jill and G from Chibitronics, who have this amazing amazing business bringing uh, interaction to the next level in pop-up books and cards, and really, I mean, it's so open for use and adaptation. So I'm just going to let you start and and tell us all about it, because I'm sure all of us have plenty to learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for, whoops, let me try that again. Thank you so much for inviting us here. Jill and I are we're so grateful for this community, honestly, really, and glad to be here in any capacity. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to join in person before I had a little one join us. So he is now 8 months. And very exciting time. To keep it casual, Jill and I wanted to just kind of basically, I will be driving the slides, but we'll keep it in this way. So, like anybody, if you have comments or questions, feel free to just jump in or type in the chat, and we'll make sure to, say hello. And this way, hopefully, it won't feel like you're like staring at a slide deck and you can't interrupt anything. So, welcome to Sparking Connections with Chibitronics. And we basically, our world is paper circuits, which is blending the world of pop-ups and paper, which we all love, with lights and switches and sensors, which we also love, and we hope that you will love too, perhaps more so after this. So a quick intro. Um, I'm G. I this my claim, I guess my claim to fame in this community was many, many, many moons ago. I gave a presentation about a pop-up book that had lights and sensors and interactivity. It was called Electronic Poppables. In the interest of time, I won't go into it, but I put a link down here and to my webpage where you can watch the video. But essentially, I guess I could share. It was just I was playing around with paper crafts, which I love. But then my advisor, Leah Beakley, asked me to add sensors and circuitry. And at first, I was just making like squares and circles because that's what buttons and stuff look like. But then I realized when we're paper crafting, you can make it look like anything you want. And that just kind of bloomed into this pop-up book idea where there's a different sensor or switch for each page. And it was just so much fun. And that birthed this whole universe of paper circuits, which then turned into Chibitronics. But I will share more about that later. So these are just some pictures from the book. And again, you can learn more in the link if you want to see the video. And I'm really, really, really proud to share that the original research paper that this was written, it was 2010 for a conference called Tangible, Embedded, and Embodied Interactions. It won a Lasting Impact Award this year, I guess because of all that it has spawned. So I just wanted to share that. Like, holy crap, it's been, yeah, 16 years since it was published, but it has gone so much in so many more places than I could have imagined, including a lovely thing that Jill will share about today. So with that, I give it to Jill.
So, hi, my name is Jill Dawson, and in case it isn't obvious, it will be obvious when you see my work that I was very influenced by G's work, and I discovered her paper sometime. I didn't discover it in 2010. It must have been 2015 by the time I saw laid eyes on it, and that was the first year that ever had lit an LED with a battery. It's the first time I know, the very first time I created my first circuit was in 2015. And so I like to bind books. I like to make shadow boxes and I like to make a lot of different paper things. And so in about 20, thanks for running that. I should have let you know. Okay, so this is just like a little 2-minute video of some little sample, little experimental things that I did. Like this is a little book that is connected with conductive fabric thread. Um, but I my most favorite thing in the world to do is to try like take a structure like a Victorian um like one of those little, I forgot what they're called right now, cobweb cards, and add a circuit to it. Or I took a class with Helen Friel on Domestica, and I learned how to do this amazing pop-up book of Germany of a fest tent. She's an amazing teacher, and I highly recommend her class. But Pop-Uptober was sort of came up after that when I started seeing all these I started seeing all these really cool things that Keith Allen was creating on his Instagram feed. And I had this idea it would be so awesome to add circuits to pop-ups. And so the idea of maybe having Chibitronics and Keith collaborate on something that was an idea that I had that ended up working out really well because G got to meet Keith at a movable book conference was it 2 years ago now, 3 years ago? I think it must have been three.
It's probably 2023.
2023. So
Okay, so
23,
yeah,
yeah.
3 years ago. So she met with him and then got he seemed like he was interested in a collaboration, and so that's how we ended up hooking up with him and creating this other thing that has we have a lot of different types of artists and bookbinders that are interested in Pop-Uptober now, and we have members of our design team that are interested in adding pop-up, maybe more pop-up work into their card making. And so I think it's very exciting that the company that I work for blends so well with the things that I'm passionate about and also with the paper engineering community and really talented and famous book artists in the world. I'm really excited to just play a very small role in it. But back to the point I was trying to make is that it all relates to G's work, like discovering these little tiny circuit stickers that are flat that you can put into really small spaces. And in any case, so that was my little spiel.
Okay, excuse me, Jill. There have
Yeah.
been a lot of requests to see the video in much more detail. So would you mind
Ah,
maximizing it and then just replaying it?
oh,
I think
okay.
no,
So,
don't no worries about talking
oh,
over it,
I'm
but I
sorry.
think
I
I
like
think it would just be a lot
completely
easier to
skipped.
see if you can
Ah,
make it
there we
full
go. I
screen. Thank you.
apologize.
That's okay.
I didn't
We
see
want to
that.
see it. We want to
Yeah,
see
yeah, no, it's
the
amazing.
lights.
And I will add, Jill is like the most humble person ever. As you can see from this, she's like a genius, and it's so cool to get to work with her. And I hope you'll join her in this pop-up tober coming up. But yes, here's the cool video. Yeah, like actually, yeah, there's like 80,000 different pop-up mechanisms in here, and with circuits added. Sorry to interrupt, Jill.
No, no, I'm sorry. Like this is always tricky getting the everything to so that everyone can see things
Yeah.
big enough. We have some other pictures. We have some interesting stuff that other people from many of whom are from the Movable Book Society have contributed to Pop-Uptober as well. So, and because it's this book, by the way, it has a tilt sensor in it, so that when you tilt it, the lights turn off and on. So that's why I'm moving it around. Just this
Yeah.
one has a lever switch, and there's like a hidden reed switch inside, which is a magnetic. It's a magnetic triggered switch. This one was just a push button that had like a sensor, a pressure sensor in it. That one also has like a hidden switch inside the little lifty thing, the tab. I like Easy Rider. That was really a fun one to make. This is my most favorite pop-up card that I've made. This one right here. This was a collaboration with Linda Roberts, who lives in Australia. She designed the little snails, and we worked together to create light up disco snails. This is a book I made for the Are You Book Enough monthly challenge. I really didn't make very many of them, but that one was a fun one. This one's a collapsible card with a removable circuit on the back. It fits in an envelope and it can actually go through the mail. This is another tilt sensing book. And this one's really fun because this is an example of a Chibitronics circuit, using a parallelogram structure, but with with an or switch and or switch so that you can have different lights turning on at once.
Okay. Whoops. I mean, how do I? Hmm. There we go. Uh,
So we kind of already talked a little bit about Pop-Uptober through all that, luckily. So we can move down to the next slide, G.
mhm. Oh, whoops. I'm attempting to, but I accidentally clicked a link. There we go.
Oh,
Right?
well,
That's what we want.
that's okay. Okay,
Okay, okay.
so so Bruce had to be in here because he was the very first person that we asked who said yes. And this pop-up that he did, right? Obviously it's a still image. There's a link if you click on energetic G, it'll actually go to his
Mm,
Instagram feed and people will be able to see it.
mm,
Okay, so this one is really fun. And this one opened up the very first Pop-Uptober collaboration that we did.
mm.
And there is a soundtrack, but we're not going to put the music on.
Oh,
We'll give you links to all of these, all of the Pop-Uptober resources that you can go and check these out on your own. But isn't that, this one has like a really crazy rap beat going on in the background
oh,
when you watch it. It is really, really fun.
okay. I can try to. Oh
You
my
can
God.
back,
Okay, it's very loud. Okay, never mind. Sorry. We go back? Okay.
I see that question, Seth. We can, about like an either or switch. It's just like when you push one switch, one light turns on, and then you push another switch and another light turns on. If you push both switches, then both lights are on. That's the answer to that question that I see in
Yeah.
the chat. Okay, so this person, Katie Nasser, is not, to my knowledge, a member of a movable book society, but she is an educator, and she created this pop-up using a Chibi chip, which is like a programmable microcontroller that you can connect to paper. And I think it's amazing and just very beautiful. And so this is one of my most favorite pieces from last year. This amazing phoenix with light up feathers.
Hmm. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, so those lights are programmed with code. Oh, there we go. So this is the thing that controls the different lights. There you go. Okay.
This one is so Helen Friel, as I mentioned, teaches a light up pop-up workshop on Domestica. And having taken her class, taking her class really helped me understand how to use foundational shapes to build pop-ups. So her class was really an important stepping stone for me and is helping me to try to teach other people that might encounter our products to integrate circuits with foundational shapes of paper mechanics to feel more confident in creating their own pop-up structures. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Helen because she's been really impactful also in my interest in paper engineering.
Mhm.
And Cecilia Hillways, I'm not sure that she's a member of Movable Book Society either, but she is an incredibly gifted maker. And the way that this mechanism moves, I've never seen anything quite like it. And so I really thought that this one was really notable and interesting. The way that the headlights light up and how they just move so smoothly. It's amazing. I don't know how she did it. Plus, she's an amazing illustrator as well. She makes all sorts of automatons, and also does stuff with robots. So you might want to check her out.
Ooh.
I'm sure that you're all familiar with Sean Sheehy's work. This one was a really fun one that he did for the Day of the Dead with light up eyeballs. And he's been doing Pop-Uptober with us for the past 2 years. So it's always exciting. And he likes to present on his birthday. So the 23rd of October, if you see his pop-up this year, again, it'll most likely be his birthday.
Yay. Oh,
G, would you like to speak about your work?
sure. So this one, the word was split, and I think I did above and below. So these are mangroves. I'm obsessed with mangrove trees. For those who don't know, they're a native species here in Florida. And so I had there's like above and below split by the water, and then I kind of split the word, so it's lit when you open it and split the word. So I was just having fun, but yeah, these are mangroves above and kind of colorful below. Yeah, that's mine. Oh, whoops, I forgot. Oh, thank you. I hadn't made a thing in a long time, so it was so cool to have like a reason to make stuff. Like I spend way too much of my time writing emails these days, so it was just really fun to do something here. So thank you for making all this possible, Jill. Um, Yeah, so that's mine. And it was trying to make it like colorful below and, kind of black and white above because like there's magic happening beneath the water too. Um, yeah, cool. Thank you. Oh,
This one, I don't know how to pronounce Simon's last name, and I don't want to mess it up, but I know that this was a favorite of at least one person in the audience here. Um, because of how well the light and the paper mechanics go together to really tell a story, like how the light is actually the North Star, which is really cool.
yeah, very cool. I
It
also
was
don't
very
know.
hard to narrow down which ones we wanted to show because there were so many amazing ones. So um, I picked a few of my favorites and people that have have done a couple of different things for us. Okay, here's Seth
Sorry.
Berg, which this one is like this thing is amazing. It's like a nightclub. It's all in 3D. Like it's just oh, look at all that.
Yeah, and these are just amazing creations from like you all out there. So we're just so lucky to get to see it as well and hope that you'll keep creating and sharing and imagining. Oh, oh yeah. Oop.
So this one is by Bo Haynes, and this one I selected because it does such an amazing job of telling a story. Like it has lots of text on it and lots of different little compartments that have different things that are revealed that you can really spend a lot of time with.
I'm on the call, so thank you.
Oh, oh, but
I
Bo.
can't see who's in the audience or anything else.
Oh, would you like to say something, Bo? That's
Yeah.
cool. Hi,
Uh,
Bo.
sure. Yeah, no, thanks so much. I mean, my favorite part of this, definitely the what is it, the complexities that pop up that I'm sure we all have.
Mm.
That book was definitely the inspiration for the translucent box. But yeah,
Look at
this
this.
also
Yeah.
has a read,
Look at that. This is so cool.
which is amazing. So yeah, just getting to use that blue to light up that entire box. But yeah, semi, just, and I think the video, yeah, it actually shows there.
Well,
It's like
no.
cuts off at the
Uh-oh.
very end.
Oh
But
yeah, I
yeah,
was like, did I do something?
no,
No,
no, no.
that's
It's
just
yeah.
the
That's
video.
Okay.
the
Yeah.
annoying Instagram limit. But yeah, it was just a really fun story about just kind of discovering something in the in you'll have to read the whole thing. But yeah, there's like a whole story about how someone kind of discovering something in the jungle. But it
Nice
was
use
a
of a
ton of
launch
fun.
pad LED, by the way, and a
Yes,
launch pad
yes,
battery and a reed
yes,
switch. Just throwing
yes,
that out there because
yeah,
those are Chibitronics products for
Yeah.
yes,
anyone
indeed.
in the audience
Thank
who doesn't
you.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Um, oh, and ooh.
This one is like, I mean, it's amazing that it's not paper and it's three-dimensional. I mean, it looks like actually looks like ice, and the way that the lights, she's using a rainbow fade animating LED, and as the light changes, the light is going up through the structure, which is just such an amazing combination of technology and ingenuity.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, so we have a couple of compilation videos that we're not going to share with you because we don't have time. They're quite lengthy, but you can see all for the last 2 years, every single person who's contributed to Light Up Pop Uptober has their amazing creations in these compilation videos. We'll give you the links to all of them. And that like you can actually there's also an online web gallery for all of the participants. You can click on each person. You can see their handle on Instagram and go directly to their creations on Instagram and see them that way as well. So you might follow some new people as a result.
Cool. Okay. Um,
So next thing is G is going to tell you some new things that are going on at Chibitronics.
Yeah, so I'll be brief because I know we there's so much just to say and explore. So just a quick review of like a lot of the tools that were used to make all the magical things that you just saw. So these are different types of LEDs. We introduced these animating ones, so they change color, they blink, they fade in and out, so that you can get cool effects that are not purely just the light staying on, although that's really cool too. So these are some animating LEDs. Jill mentioned the Launchpad series. So basically, for educators out there, we've learned that it's nice to be able to reuse the LEDs over and over. So we created these really sturdy LEDs that basically you can stomp on them and they'll still work. And they have gigantic pads, well, not gigantic, but very big compared to LED stickers. These big pads that are easy to connect to. And the colors are actually reflected in the color of the LED. And there's also these Launchpad batteries, which are also have a large, easy to connect to tabs. And then very importantly, the center is wrapped so that it's much, much safer than a traditional coin battery. So of you who might be familiar, there was a law passed around the safety of coin batteries. These were designed such that they're safer and they're like basically compliant in a way that makes them easier to use and hopefully safer. I mean, of course, I would never recommend putting that near your mouth ever, but should it happen accidentally, it's a much safer alternative. Um, the other tool that we have been working on, it's out in beta, is Circuit Sketcher, and it's a tool that allows you to prototype circuits online and print out a template. So there's a bunch of links. Most importantly, we're going to share with you this lovely document that Jill created. This doc. I see many of you are in there already. In fact,
I
oh,
put the
you
link
dropped it
in
in the
the
chat.
chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jill. So this has everything from today, links to the slide deck, videos. And then down here, there's all these templates that are made in Circuit Sketcher. of the cool mechanisms that you see that Jill has created for us. So for example, if you click this one, it'll take you to Circuit Sketcher. This one is a snapshot, which means it's just the view mode, but you can, for example, export the template to print out. And then you can also edit it by clicking edit. Okay, sure. Um, and then this allows you to actually like move the lights around and move the circuitry around. I won't go into super detail because that's a whole nother conversation, but just as a quick, simpler example, here's an example of a circuit with a firefly, a battery. There's these lights here, and then a button that you can turn on to turn on the lights. It's a little bit harder to see with the art, so maybe I'll just hide the picture. Here we go. So here's like a button that when you close the circuit, when you connect the little gap here, it connects the power to the lights, and you can see they actually turn on. And this lets you virtually experiment with a circuit. You can then, look at the art so that, this is what happens if you have the artwork, placed on top, and here's the lights. And then again, when you're ready, you can actually export the circuit template, the picture, and then you can actually use this to guide you where to put your tape and components to build a working circuit. So that's the idea behind Circuit Sketcher, and it's right now it's just sketcher.chibitronics.com. You can try it yourself, drag out components and build a circuit and such. So although that was very odd. So yeah, you could try it out yourself. It's right now it's in beta, but we'll be launching soon. And it's there for you to try. And again, all of these cool templates that Jill has created, they are made in Circuit Sketcher, so you could take a look. Circuit Sketcher, and this looks like Baby Illustrator. With that, I'll go back here. These are cool links, and you can find us all over the web. And it's very kindly. You'll reach Jill on the other end of these, and so I hope you'll stay in touch with us. And with that, I think that's Chibitronics. And I wanted to kind of I guess, close early so that we can have questions if you all have.
Oh, before we do the
Oh,
questions,
sorry.
there's one thing on the
Oh,
slide
my
deck
bad.
that invite if you're interested in perhaps joining Light Up Pop October this year, there's like a little it's
Oh,
I think it right up here, or maybe that wasn't. Oh yeah, recruiting for Light Up Pop October 2026, and it's also on the
ah,
hyperdoc that G was sharing that had the other that had some of the other resources on there, but um. And you can also find templates, all of the Pop October resources. Like if you scroll, can you scroll down on here?
down.
Yeah. Okay.
Template.
So well, that's circuit. What are we? Did you? I was trying to show them where the other thing was, the to sign up for Pop Up later Pop
The
October.
sign up, the form.
Oh
This,
yeah, there's that, and then yeah, and then there was also the link that I maybe go back to the
the slide deck, or
yeah, I can't. It's in
back
both places, but I
invitation for Light Up Pop
uh
October here.
oh that's the slide.
That's the form.
the form.
Okay.
So if we go back, just go back to the presentation and the resources there because everything looks a little bit different. The resource page, the Light Up Pop October resource page this is where you'll find the galleries, you'll find lots of tutorials also. So in addition to Circuit Sketcher, there are video tutorials using different types of structures,
Mhm.
different types of paper mechanisms, which are really good if you don't have any experience or you have limited experience with circuitry to just kind of get some ideas of how you might combine simple circuits and more advanced circuits with basic pop-up structures. So there's a lot there
Oh,
that I wanted you to see because sometimes it's a good place to get some good ideas of like, well, how do you get it so that you don't see the battery?
wow. Yeah, this could be like
So
a book or something. There's so much here. Thanks for
yeah.
putting this together, Jill. Yeah. I'm glad you guided me here. That was so I got there through the
Sorry, it's
topic that
there.
through the
Yeah,
resource page, our
resource
slide
page.
deck, which will be shared as well, if it's not already. Yeah, thank you. Um, anything else you'd like me to share?
I think we're open for questions
All
now.
Yeah,
right,
I
open
think
for
yeah, I think we should
questions.
start with just backing up a little bit, and we have a few people who are not actually familiar with Pop-Uptober at all. So my understanding is that the Chibitronics version is not you're not expected to create a light up item for every day, every prompt, right?
Wait, the Chibitronics version or the
Yeah.
Keats version?
Or
Okay, so
well,
Keith.
I think we should disambiguate. So
Okay, so Keith.
originally it was a challenge to make a pop-up thing for a prompt every day of October, correct?
Yeah, Keith
Yeah.
Allen came up with the idea of Pop-Uptober. And it's the idea that you create, there's a list of 31 prompts, one for each day of the month of October. And you would create you create as many as you're willing or able to create and share them on Instagram. And so ours is in collaboration with him because he creates the prompts. And we create a team of people who use his prompts and sign up for one of the 31 prompts and then add light to a pop-up, add light to one of the 31 prompts so that as a team, the Chibitronics team creates 31 light up pop-ups for pop-up light October. Sorry that we just jumped right in and skipped that part.
No,
Sorry about that.
I think that should clarify it a bit. But just there's an amazing amount of labor that goes into making ones that are so well suited to using the light, especially that yeah, it's amazing that what I yeah I can't wait to pay more attention this year to them. That these the ones you selected look just wonderful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing, Isabel. Anybody can participate. We're just, Jill is choreographing this version, but we hope, everyone can feel invited and excited to join us and, join like experiment with the world of interactive and pop-ups. What is the typical lifetime of batteries and bulbs? Good question. So the lifetime of the bulb, so the LEDs, they don't burn out like light bulbs do. They don't, regular light bulbs heat up and eventually burn out, but LEDs basically go on roughly indefinitely. It's more the battery that will drain. So it's just I've done an experiment with an LED sticker and just kept it on constantly, and it lasted several weeks. It just gets dimmer over time. And the other thing to watch out for is like mechanical connections in your circuit, right? Like if it's a sticker that's stuck down, maybe the adhesive will be not as strong after, I don't know, a couple years, or if you move it around a lot, maybe even a few days. It depends. So, that's so the lights themselves don't go out. The batteries drain eventually of power, and then maintaining a circuit is about maintaining the electrical connections, which you can patch up and stuff. There's a lot of cool resources on this stuff as well. But great question. Um, and welcome. Bove. I don't know. I don't want to mess up your name, so but I will say welcome. Um,
Thanks. I've enjoyed this.
oh yeah, thank you. I'm glad. Um,
Okay, so further back in the chat, we had a request from Ellen Rubin. Do you know if anybody's made a menorah with the where the lights are progressive? Like
uh,
Well,
they show up
Kathy
the
overnight.
Cesari has an she works with us. She's an educator and a she's written several different books about different types of paper creations, and she's created a light up menorah that I'm not I oh
here,
yeah, here's one. Okay, so like um this one, okay, that one looks like it's attached to a chibi
it's a
chip.
pillow. Yeah, there's different. Maybe
I
this is just the
She
one.
might have had another one as well. I'm not sure.
Oh,
But
okay.
in any case, it would not be hard to create a menorah where you have like either, you create your switch so that you can close each switch for each night of Hanukkah and then light up a new light. I mean, it would take a little thinking and planning, but it's very doable. If you want help, you can email me. I could try to help you with it.
Yeah.
Jill at chibitronics.com.
Okay, we have a question about posting for Pop-Uptober. Newman, I mean it's on Instagram. Are you able to be on Instagram? I think you're international, aren't you?
Who are you asking? Wait,
Um,
what?
it was in the chat.
Oh.
Uh, the name is Newman Lamb, I think. Okay, yeah. So Isabella's responded. Yeah, so I just don't know if it's an issue of not being able to be on Instagram.
Oh.
Okay, we had a question from Paula Krieg about Up with Paper. Do you know if Up with Paper uses Chibitronics?
Oh, good question. So, like commercial cards with lights in them, use fully assembled circuits. So Chibitronics are individual components, like tape that's conductive that you use as wire. The LEDs are stickers. So it's kind of more like Chibitronics is like art materials, while the commercially created works are just they're finished. They're like all the entire circuit is made in a factory. And good point about looking for a battery. The battery is actually a smaller coin battery that's usually integrated in the board itself. There's usually a board and some lights maybe on wires. In the board itself is a small battery. It's a bit smaller than the ones that we typically use for Chibitronics, but there is one there. Um, yeah, it's just kind of like all combined together in the board. But good question and for investigating too. Um,
Yeah, so there was a question about the hand do we mean Instagram handle for Chibitronics or for Pop-Uptober? Um,
Well, the you mean like a tag? The
these are
tag.
tag, yeah, because
Oh,
it's really through Keith, right? Well, I mean, it's everybody, yeah, everybody posts their own.
like when Keith does Pop Uptober, which is the not lit up version, the hashtag would be Pop Uptober or Pop Uptober in the year usually. So like hashtag Pop Uptober 2026. And like the hashtag for Chibitronics would be his hashtag. So Pop Uptober and then light up Pop Uptober. And so I mean, and since Instagram's kind of been weird with hashtags, that's been a bit challenging to like to find everyone's stuff out in the out on Instagram. So like we would reshare on would reshare as stories, or we have collaborations with the people that create as part of our team, and so they are all in our feed.
That's great.
I,
Okay. Yeah,
oh,
G,
I see a couple battery questions, so I
go
guess I'll
for it,
those.
please.
Are the batteries replaceable? From Ellen, there are so many pop-ups with microchips. One can't change the battery. Yes. For when you're making your own paper circuits, I guess it depends on how you build your project. I typically make it such that you can just untape the battery and retape it. Or there was magnets are great for kind of connecting to the battery without sticking. So there's lots of cool battery holder options for replacing the battery. And then Paula asked that coin batteries can be dangerous. They are only dangerous when you swallow them, pretty much. It's just like traditional coin batteries have like the two sides of the battery, positive and negative, are really close together, and when they come in contact with fluids, it gets very hot, basically, is what's happening. And so if you hold them, it's fine. They don't have enough power to like do much damage, but it's just in the particular situation that you actually swallow a battery is very bad for you. But so, so you want to be careful. And it's not just the large coin batteries that you see. It's even like the tiny ones that you might use for a hearing aid. Just I would recommend being careful with them. At the same time, if you don't swallow a battery, it's totally okay. Um, yeah. So, uh, let's see. Could you create a flow chart, a tutorial making flow charts? Huh. So they're a tool for planning the sequence. Uh,
I think it was an offer for designing the menorah that Ellen's looking for someone else to design. Yeah.
oh,
So yeah, we do sometimes attach sort of you know, a tutorial for making things
okay.
to these online events. So maybe that's something we could add later if people are willing. Yeah. Ah, yes. Yes. And as Isabel is making again a plea for not feeding batteries to babies.
No, you do not feed batteries to anybody. They're no good.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think on that note we should move on to Christian, but we may have a little more time for questions afterwards. But thank you both so much. Amazing work, and yeah, we'll love to see what happens in October. I'm hoping a number of people on this call will be inspired to contribute.
Oh,
All right,
thank you so
so
much.
we're gonna move a little bit more to the history of this sort of thing. Then Christian Bachmann, who you may have seen in the newsletter, Movable Stationery, as a literary and media scholar, publisher, curator, and lecturer, and does all sorts of things about game design. So, Christian, would you like to from in Germany? Would you like to tell us about this exhibition? And I wish I could go see it, but I don't think that's in the cards for this time. And you were also a participant in the Turin sort of pop-up book museum opening conference. So it was really great to be able to hear from you there as well. So, Christian.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a bit intimidated now that we've seen so many gorgeous and amazing things, and I'm not sure I can present anything that is even remotely close to what we've seen already. But I promise I won't feed you any batteries. However, let me quickly set up my slides. You should be able to see my slides. Is that correct? Great. So again, thank you for having me. If you've read my little tiny article in Movable Stationery, you will already be familiar with most of the things. But at the time of writing this article, the exhibition wasn't really done yet. So like 3 weeks ago, we met at Düren, which is a smallish city close to Cologne. Most of you will be familiar with Cologne in Germany, I believe. I, however, am calling in from Berlin, so going to Düren to set up the exhibition there. That was quite a feat, and was really amazing for me myself to experience that, to work with a great team at Düren Papermuseum to set up this whole thing that I'm going to tell you about tonight. Tonight for me, it's still day for you, right? It's like 1 p.m. in the US, so it's closer to evening here in Germany. So Suzanne already mentioned the kind of things that I do. Let me just quickly go through them again. By training, I'm a literary scholar. So I studied comparative literature. I did lots of research on comic books, and I was really pleased to see that Gene Kannenberg is here, who's a really important person when it comes to comic books as well. So that's what I've done most of the time. But like the last 3-4 years, I've been looking a lot at games as well. And I've also picked up a visiting lecturer position in game design and development. So I'm teaching young people how to make games, which is great. Perhaps the biggest pivot in my life so far, but one that has really enriched my life in so many ways. Also, I'm a publisher, like Suzanne mentioned, so I don't really publish comic books, as one might imagine, but I publish comic studies, mostly German language comic studies, but also books on book art, on general literary studies, cultural studies, that sort of thing. And also there's at least one volume that we did on pop-up books. So the whole notion of pop-up books, the whole art form, is something that is very dear and near to me, but I'm not an artist myself. I'm not even a collector. So many of you will know much more about these things than I will ever do, which is fine. Only don't point at me when and if I don't know something. I'm sure I will miss stuff, and I'm happy to learn from you. So in the last couple of years, I've kind of pivoted more or away from writing scholarly articles as one does, and instead focused more on putting together exhibitions. Because if you've seen what people react to certain objects in exhibitions, how their eyes light up, that's something that you don't get from scholarly papers, right? So that's something that I love to do, to entertain people and to kind of perhaps educate people on certain phenomena. And pop-up books and games is the specific topic that I'm going to talk to you about, because that's what the exhibition is about that we put together at Papermuseum. Next year, just to tease that already, we will be putting together an exhibition on Lothar Meggendorfer at Papermuseum. I'm really looking forward to that. Because I love Meggendorfer, of course, and especially because we missed 2025. He died in 1925, as you will be aware of, and that kind of got missed in Germany because Meggendorfer is not really very well known in Germany today, and I want to change that a bit. So putting together that exhibition is something that is really important to me, and I'm really looking forward to that. However, today, into the Paperverse, paper and video games is the topic of this short little presentation and the exhibition at Papermuseum in Düren. So what's the thing with paper and games? A couple of years ago, I was asked if I could lead a research project on the common history and tradition of video games and pop-up books, which is something that one would possibly not think of on the top of one's head. But there was a discussion with Andreas Lange, who many years ago, 29 years ago, I believe, founded the very first museum for video games in the world in Berlin, the Computerspielemuseum. And discussing pop-up books and games with him, he was kind of like, can we say that pop-up books are the ancestors of video games? And that sounded crass. And in many ways it is, of course. But there's certain things that one can become aware of when looking and comparing those things. So back in 2023, we put together an exhibition similar or in the same vein of the one that I'm going to talk to you about today at Berlin State Library, because the research project was also located at Berlin State Library. So it made sense to present all those findings there. And the library has a great collection of especially historic pop-up books like Meggendorfer's and many others. So we kind of took those two things that don't obviously relate to each other and threw them at each other and try to find out what would stick. And there are many aesthetic practices that are similar, and I can't go into all of these here. But the thing that I noticed back then was that really we should be looking at games and paper more generally instead of focusing too narrowly on pop-up books, which is fun in its own right, but that only seemed to be half of the story. Because when I looked at those games, collecting and playing them for the exhibition back in 2023, it was very apparent that many of them turned to paper as a source of inspiration for aesthetics, for game mechanics, and all sorts of other aspects of gaming. And that intrigued me. I wanted to learn more about that. And that's how the whole exhibition Into the Paperverse came into being. So this is what we managed to put together in a grand overview, so to speak. Düren's Papermuseum is a small museum, mind you. So don't expect this to be a huge show. But I think we got together like 70 objects or something, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out in the end. So the first thing that you will see, and I will run you through this exhibition in a way, and then I will get to pop-up books as well, which is the reason why I'm here tonight, right? But let me run you through the exhibition as a whole first. So the first thing that you will see when entering the exhibition is actually an Atari console from the 1970s, which many of you will likely be familiar with. And the game that we present together with that console is actually an adaptation of Blackjack. Obviously, a game that relates very deeply to paper because it's a card game, right? And cards are made from paper. And the fun thing that many people are not aware of, and even at Papermuseum, the curators weren't aware of, is that paper was helped into our culture, into Western culture, through the means of gaming. So the earliest paper mills that you will find in Germany, at least, or in the Holy Roman Empire of the time, came into existence about 1390, so late 1300s. And early on, they produced paper, and that paper became used in some sort of limited fashion in bureaus and offices and that sort of thing that medieval emperors and kings and all those people would already entertain. But it was gaming, it was card gaming that really helped paper to infiltrate all kinds of and all strata of society of the time. Paper games, card games came to Northern Europe via Italy, so from Arabia to Italy to Northern Europe in the early 1400s, like 1410 about-ish. And paper served as the perfect material to print cards on because it was cheap, much cheaper than skin would have been at the time, of course. So card games were printed on this cheap material, and by being printed on this material, more mills could be founded, more paper could be produced, and paper could be used in many, many more applications. So in a way, we owe it to card games that paper is now or has over the centuries become a staple of our societies and of our different cultures, at least in the Western context. So that's what I wanted to start with. It's the gaming, the cards that will get paper into our societies. And that's why we are presenting this card game adaptation as one of the first objects. Because games very early on turned to paper products to make their own digital versions of them because people knew them. There was something that people would be able to understand without having to understand anything about computers or video games or consoles or that sort of thing. But they knew their games, they knew their blackjack, they knew their poker. And it made sense to make those games in order to attract people to the new entertainment systems. So as we walk through the exhibition, that's a close-up again of the card game. And I will get into many of these objects as we move along. But let me first start here because that's the first display that you will see other than the arcade or the video game console that you already saw. So we're starting out with punch cards, which of course date back to the 18th century, so late 1700s aroundish, were first used, as you might know, for weaving. Weaving machinery was automated using punch cards, and then they moved to other applications much later, around 1900, through Hermann Hollerith, who later, in a way, founded IBM, which you are certainly aware of. So paper was there at the beginning of computers, before there were computers, and before computers could save anything. Paper was already there being used for the same sort of applications. And you can see punch cards here, and you can see paper strips that were also used for the same thing. And you can see a couple of more of the card games that I chose for this exhibition. So Düren has a paper museum because Düren was a region or Düren sits flat in the middle of a region where paper milling was very important. There was lots of good water there, soft water as at least it's called in Germany. So water that could be easily used to make paper with. And some of the card games in this display are actually made or were actually made in Düren, or at least the paper stock was made there. So I choose a couple of that sort of objects to illustrate the importance of card games. But you also see that there's the first pop-up book here as well, and I guess many of you will be aware of it. I forgot the engineer's name, the paper engineer's name right now, but we probably come back later. So this is an 80s pop-up book that teaches people what computers are like and how they could be used. And it's got lovely mechanics like the disk that you can see there, the floppy disk. You can actually pull that out and it will change the screen. So this is really a lovely piece. And I wanted to have this there right in the beginning of the exhibition. Because it's such a singular piece. And it's, as far as I'm aware, the very first pop-up book to actually include a video game, which is on a boring page. It's on the last page. If you've got that book in your collection, pick it up from the shelf and look at the last page. There's a little Volvel there, which you can go through, and it will show you what sorts of programs were run on computers in the 80s. And games were a very important part of that. People didn't get computers in the early times in the 80s, like the IBM 2 or the C64s. They didn't get them to do spreadsheets. They pretended to do spreadsheets, but mostly they got them to, play games. And that reflects in this book as well. But it's not just it's such a fascinating page and pop-up mechanism as it is on the page that we choose to show here. So this is how you kind of get introduced to the exhibition by, moving through cards and punch cards, that sort of thing. And there's a better picture here of the pop-up book. And I imagine many of you will know this. To the right, you will see a replica sheet of actual card games that was in the Papermuseum's collection, and that made sense to include that as well, just so you know. And the theme that we are going here going to see a lot is the same theme that we already saw in the presentation earlier by Jill and G, which was all about how could paper and modern technologies, electronics, could be combined, right? And that's something that you will see in my exhibition as well. So for instance, if you look at this bicycle night mode card set and card deck over there in blue and green on black background, that's something where card games try to become more to move closer to digital art and to digital mediums, right? So what I mentioned earlier, that video games would early on turn to paper and paper games, is something that we see from the other direction as well. Paper games now try to get closer to video games, and I'll have more examples of that too. That one LCD game in that display that you can see in the upper right corner, which is kind of, I love how it was put in this blister. You can hardly see it here, but it's like this tiny little red LCD display or LCD game with a little display in that red box. And there's some buttons there, and it's kind of integrated into its packaging in a way as if it was a card itself. And that was very striking to me, how it tries to be paper and digital at the same time, at least in terms of packaging. And packaging is something that we'll be talking about a bit too as we move along. Card games, especially those that relate to video games, you really can't go around showing Pokemon. That made sense, especially because there will be lots of school children looking at the exhibition, because I at least hope that all of Düren's schools will send their classes through the exhibition. So we had to include Pokemon as well. But as you're probably aware, Nintendo started out as a card game company. They made card games, and they made money with card games, and then they moved on to digital games. They first produced something that they called the Game and Watch, which was a simple LCD game that included a watch, which explains its somewhat bland title, Game and Watch. And they brought out like 150 of those little LCD games, and that made them the money to then make the Game Boy, which really made them famous outside of Japan, and changed gaming forever in a way, making it much more, giving it much higher quality and making it much more portable in many ways. And Nintendo in the late 19s came out with a game for the Game Boy, which was called Pokemon, and they turned Pokemon into a card game because that's what they were familiar with anyway. They knew how to make card games, and to this very day, Pokemon, and many of, if not all of you will know it and will be familiar with Pokemon cards, at least to your children, if applicable. Those cards are still printed in the billions. Each year there's like 25 billions of new cards printed. This is a big thing, right? And I can't go into this, all of the things that I'm showing you in this display, but let me briefly mention the Eye of Judgment cards to the left, in the left corner with a camera standing next to it. That was an early attempt to try to combine card gaming with digital technology, in which you would place the cards printed with, of outfitted with a special kind of QR code in a way, to place that in front of the camera so that the PlayStation console would read the cards and then show you on the screen or on the TV set what is represented by the card in paper form, right? So they too try to combine the digital and the paper medium. And other media, of course, do similar things, to combining gaming or playing games with paper media. And to illustrate that, I included a couple of early game books, like the Choose Your Own Adventure books, that sort of thing. Or in the very right upper corner there, you can see one of the many, many game collections that the 19th century would bring out in order to teach those children that had only recently moved inside and got their own children's rooms and playrooms, that those books were necessary to actually teach those children what to play, what to do inside now. So there were plenty of those, and I wanted to include that as well. But you will also see a couple of comic books here. One is by Jason Shiga called Meanwhile, in which you have a multilinear plot navigating through the book, which you have to go through, not page by page, but jump pages all the time, following certain threads and opening tabs. So in a way, or moving tabs. So in a way, it is close to a movable book in a very limited sense. But it's also something that is very, it's very bookish, and it wants to be a book, but it also wants to be gamish in a way. And the other thing that I included is Koala in the very left upper corner, which is also a comic book, but it consists of 4 comic books that you will give to all of the other 3 players you're playing this comic book with. So you're reading a story, and each of you will get their own version of the story with little changes made. Some panels will differ from the others, and you will get a chance to use your character, the character that you're role playing, to affect the story and the outcome of the story. So this, in a way, is also something that I love because it combines games and comic books and also books. My 3 topics that I've done most of my research on in the past 2 decades, actually. So I can't go into all of these things because that would take ages and ages. But one thing that you will spot is that display showing a set of 3M board games. 3M is now mostly known for, at least in Germany, for a tape, for glue, that sort of thing. But back in the 60s and 70s, 3M, which is Minnesota Manufacturing and Minerals, I believe, or Minerals and Manufacturing, you know that better than me. So 3M, they used to have a board game workshop, so to speak. They brought out a couple of board games, and what's interesting about those is that they presented them in a way that they would look like books, in order to make them fit into posh bookshelves, which kind of went into the whole theme of combining games and books, which video games do, and which, as you will see, pop-up books do as well. So this is, again, the same display. And I will be getting to pop-up books. Bear with me here for a minute. Those games, as you can hopefully see, they try to emulate some sort of bookishness in order, like I said, to fit into a bookshelf. Or to fit into an office. There are some photos on the back of those boxes that really show very beautiful, stylish offices in which games would then be played, or at least placed. And in the back on the wall, you can see the sort of thing that have been done with games and board games. So with video games on the one hand and board games on the other hand. Most of you, I believe, will be familiar with Minecraft, which is on the very right of those 4 yellow cards in the back. Minecraft, of course, perhaps the most well-known and famous game of the past 15 years. And of course, at some point, it made sense to turn Minecraft into a board game, because board game publishers too want to make money, and Minecraft seemed to promise to do that. but that's something that happened in the 80s already. In the early 80s, video games were, if you allow, if you excuse my language, the hot shit. They sold like let's say they sold really well, and board game publishers at the time wanted to participate in that as well. And especially Milton Bradley came out with about a dozen games based on arcade machines, on coin-operated games like Frogger, which you will know, or Zaxxon and Turbo, which are perhaps less well known, at least less well known than Frogger. And they came out with Donkey Kong as well, and there was a Pac-Man and Mrs. Pac-Man, all those arcade cabinets that you will know and perhaps love.
Christian,
Yes,
Christian, could we move to pop-ups?
yes,
Just and maybe just finish up with those.
yeah.
We are over time now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. This is fast. This is all incredibly fascinating, and the connection with cards is in retrospect obvious but amazing. So yeah, it would just be great to. I think you really made people want to see this show. So
Okay.
let's finish up with a couple of pop-ups, and then maybe we'll have time
Yeah.
for a question or two.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
So
that's okay.
let's indeed move on. So there's one thing that kind of goes into the direction of pop-up books, which is Volvels used as decoder wheels, which you will know, and you can see some of the Monkey Island ones there, and there's similar ones as well. Also in that display, you will find material, scratch cards that you can sniff, that sort of thing, or paper materials printed with secret ink, so that you would have to heat them or wet them in order to read the text, which you would then use as inputs in the video games, right? That sort of stuff came out with video games. Moving on, skipping much of the things, which is absolutely fair. Because we could be here for all evening otherwise. So thank you for the heads up, Suzanne. So pop-up books. There's a couple of them that I brought together, which I really wanted to show in the context of this exhibition, for a reason that I will show to you in a minute. I think most of you will know those pop-up books here. The one in the very front is Bib Goes Home, and I think Alistair has recently spoken in this context, so you will be familiar with him. For those of you who haven't met Ellie yet, Ellie made a pop-up book to be used with a projector, so that you would project elements of the game, like the characters and certain items, onto the pop-up book. But the pop-up book itself and the landscape that the characters would move through is an actual physical piece, and that's the thing that you can see there bound in blue paper. And you would flip through the levels by actually turning over the pages of the pop-up book. So that's great, but he's already reported on that here, I believe. And another one that I wanted to include is Simon Orispe's Hearthstone pop-up book. There's better photos of that in the article in Movable Stationery, I believe. The thing I loved, and Simon's got an article about this book in an earlier issue, a couple of years back, of Movable Stationery, if you want to look at that. So that's in the very far right corner here. What I love about Simon's Hearthstone pop-up book is that how he tries to emulate what you experience when playing through paper and through cardstock. So there's certain things that you would do in the game that you can also do in the pop-up book as well. So if you haven't looked at that, that would be something fun to do. And then also something that shows how close pop-up books and video games can be is this deluxe collector's edition of Octopath Traveler. And I'm afraid I don't have a better picture of it. So this game too came out, as most games do nowadays, in a digital version. But for the deluxe collector's market, they also brought out a box that again looks like a book, and that if you open it, offers you a couple of pop-up book effects. So that's something that I really enjoyed. And perhaps the pièce de résistance that is really badly shown in this photo, but that I can show you better in this on this slide, is not from a video game per se, but from a release trailer produced for a video game. The video game is called The Plucky Squire, and in it you play Jot, a little character this little character over here, who will go on an adventure inside their picture book, but who will soon learn that picture books can be left and that you can exist in a three-dimensional form outside of the picture book and then can interact with your own picture book to solve puzzles and all sorts of things. And Devolver Digital, the publishers of Plucky Squire, they asked Julia Hughes and Jerai Perez Vallejo if they could perhaps come up with pop-up effects for the release trailer. And I would encourage you all and invite you to look at the trailer. If you search on YouTube for the Plucky Squire release trailer, you will certainly find it on many different channels. Doesn't matter which channel you choose. And it's so amazing how they represent the whole video game in this fake pop-up book with many, many, many different pop-up book effects. And they lent some of them to us. They loaned some of them to us for the exhibition, and you can see some of them here. And you can kind of guess at the back of the mechanism here of that big bird that you saw earlier. So in a way, pop-up books are very important to this whole exhibition, because if you go through video games, and that's the last thing I'm going to speak for about for like 2 minutes more, if I may. If you look at recent video games, you will find plenty that emulate the aesthetics and style of pop-up books. And one of them is Book of Demons by a Polish publisher and development studio called Think Trunk. They remade Diablo, the hack and slay role-playing game from the late 90s, into a pop-up book version, which they can't call Diablo for obvious reasons, because Blizzard wouldn't give them the license to do so, but they call it Book of Demons, and there's plenty of animations that I can't show you here, of videos of cutscenes that work like pop-up books. And there's other games like What Remains of Edith Finch, in which you will find pop-up books that are integrated into the puzzles and the mechanics of the video game. It Takes Two is another such example. There's even two movable books, toy books in It Takes Two. So if you enjoy playing together with others, I would encourage you to try out It Takes Two, and at some point you will then be able to enjoy this little fairy tale pop-up books that they put in there. There's other games more that do a similar thing, and the most important of which perhaps is Jennifer Schneiderreit's Tengami, which combines Japanese sumi-e style ink artwork with actual mechanically sound representations of pop-up books in a video game, in which you navigate your character through different levels, and each level is represented by a page in that pop-up book. And with that, many thanks for your time. I went far too long about card games. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Christian. I think if people are willing to stick around for another minute or two, I think we could have a little bit of Q&A. I'd love to have you chat with Jill and G as well. So, do you have any questions for them, or G and Jill, do you have any questions for Christian? Just how some of this is the sort of the historical, the long history of this could come into your work. I mean, have you seen instances where the where your uh your lights could sort of usher in, a new phase of something that would normally have been more historical, I guess.
Um, I don't know if I can answer that question without having had time to really think about it, but I
Mhm.
can tell you that there's a person named Emily Brooks she's one of the design team members of Chibitronics,
Mhm.
and she is like I think she works at the University of Pennsylvania. She does a lot of like she works in the digital humanities, and her PhD focuses on the evolution of books through history. And so she's done some research on that. And so maybe that question would probably be, maybe she could help answer that question, because I know that's something that she actually focuses on. It's like the evolution of books, and bringing in different types of like digitization to different forms of books like that span history. Like because like her focus is just on how books have evolved over time. So and anyway, she's a good person for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the closest historical thing I can think of is our perspective books from the 17th or 18th centuries, where there's mica used as sort of a window. So it's not really so much lighting up, but there's definitely light coming through it.
Hmm.
So that I think it's certainly always been a medium for experimentation in that way. Yeah, Christian, did you have any questions for Chibitronics?
Well, actually, I would love to hear if you've got any experience with developing games with your stick on electronics.
We, I mean, not as a product, but I think out there, I think people have talked about, or maybe have made, uh, I, basically you can add interactivity to like board games because they're, you can imagine things are lighting up as you interact with them. But I haven't done so myself, but I could imagine it's very, very doable. In fact, maybe that's another a request out into the universe to try and see what happens if you take an existing board game and hack it with paper circuits. What might you do? I will also add that there does seem to be a lot of interest in like off-screen stuff, like more and more, I think. So
Mhm.
maybe there will be more of this that there is digital interactivity, but it doesn't have to be on a screen. And maybe that'll like also inspire more. So also, hi, this is Kai. Hello. Yeah, but I think it's a really exciting time. I mean, to have so many cool new technologies and ways to build circuits, along with like people excited to maybe like go back to the physical world. I mean, I'm a big like physical paper person, so I think maybe that is my hopeful trend, and that many people, not just Chibitronics, will make exciting, creative, beautiful, interactive paper circuity things, as we have already seen with Light Up Pop October, actually. More to come, I hope.
Wonderful. Well, I think on that note, I think we might let everyone go back to their afternoons and evenings. So thank you all for joining us, especially Christian, Jill, and G and Kay. And we look forward to seeing you again at another show and tell. The next one should be in August. We haven't selected a date yet. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks so much. Bye.